early on. We're sitting in a compound for the longest time, and for the squad being the last one alive there at one point, and on top of that being able to pick up Seol, which ultimately, I mean, that duo is just nasty.
I mean, of course, when you're looking at it, Seol and Doc are just going to be MVP contenders every single week here. But 22 points on the board for Alpha Gaming. As you said, very quick rotation. Actually, the compound they went for was occupied by a solo of Ida. It was such a valuable compound that, like, we have to take this fight. If we win it, we're just going to be in a great position for pretty much the rest of this match.
I think both of you were looking at Yangon, though, to be really flying away with this one, considering the position that they had 7, and overall didn't quite go their way, which then it didn't go Nongshim's way, which then eventually it went Alpha's way.
Yeah, for Yangon Galacticos, we actually enjoyed the 2-2 split that they had in Circle 5. We were saying, okay, they're just waiting to see what the next circle is going to be. They decided to regroup. It ended up working out for them. But surprisingly, Nongshim Red Force, a team that I've been just harping about, they're not aggressive enough. They decided to be aggressive. And I got to give some props to Nongshim Red Force as well, because this team, the way that not only were they able to just take the fight to E Arena, win that, and also set themselves up to defend fights against DRX.
Yeah, a lot of props to DRX, E Arena, and the side of Nongshim Red Force, because a lot of teams understood, oh wait, it keeps on shifting to the eastern side, western side of the northwestern island is not going to be valuable anymore because you're going through that big mountain that's held, as we know, by Thundertalk. So then they just go for the wide wrap towards Trifecta to try and just survive longer into the game. It's a very, very smart play, but unfortunately, a lot of teams had the same idea, which means you have to fight for that rotate for it to pull it off. And as we saw, that didn't quite work out for E Arena, but did work out for Nongshim Red Force.
Here comes the match report, and the biggest fan of Doc on the planet, Axman. Oh, he's so excited already. Talk to me.
I like it. No.
Wait, are you still a fan of Doc?
I'm still a fan of Doc.
Okay.
I'm just not going to predict him and his team ever again. I've been hurt too many times.
That means they might win.
No, I predicted the last. You remember Star Wars? I used to always pick Star Wars 2. Never won.
So did I.
Yeah, and it didn't work out.
I don't know why I joined you in your predictions, but yeah, for this one, yes, if Maxman does go anywhere near APG, the fans will be out in force to stop Max in his tracks. But taking a look at the highlights, 7.
Yeah, I was looking at the first fight. We were talking about it, 4 Thrives. What are they going to be doing there with the hot drop in Hot Teen? Are they going to be taking the fight once again with power? They did. It ended up coming out in their favor. I have to be happy about what they were able to do in regards to what they did defending that hot drop against power. I'm still not happy with that hot drop though, Max.
That hot drop swing, even though you win it, like pretty dominantly so, you're just taking a risk, an unnecessary risk. They get 7 eliminations, but they really have no placement points. And again, they're at the bottom of the rankings. Is that going to be enough for them to climb back up at the top of the leaderboards? Hell no. We need to see actual podium finishes, actual win if 4 Thrives want to be back in the conversation.
I'm with you. I agree. I hate the hot drop, but I am happy that they were able to at least secure 7 points. It is going to be a bit of a confidence boost for this squad that didn't have a good performance at all yesterday. That's at least what you want to be able to do. Hopefully going into tomorrow, as much as I would want to say, you know what, I don't want to see the hot drop, it's probably going to happen again, unless Power decides to just back off.
There was a world in that final moment of the game where Regnum Carrier could have done something about that. Obviously, they were sent towards in the G, but I was like, in the US, where are we going? We need maybe a tree or some kind of cover there, 7, but nothing really materialized for Regnum Carrier.
For Regnum Carrier, I'm starting to see a pattern here that what I saw yesterday, they're just playing a little bit too slow for my liking, and they're not scouting enough. Yesterday, it seems like they were just pushing into the circle late. It ended up working for them whenever they got the win because they were a little bit aggressive. I just personally didn't like the play.
Let's take a look at the overalls then and see where this has put Alpha Gaming. Second place with 70 points. It's a huge leap here for Alpha.
There is a little bit of a gap that's being created between 2nd and 3rd place right now. Again, you don't want too big a gap going into your last day's worth of play here at PMWC. That's going to be a bit scary because Yangon Galacticos were able to make it relatively far in this game. They do stay in contention with Alpha Gaming for that 1st place. They will hold on to it for now, but as you go a little bit lower, I kind of want to go back on the conversation of Regnum Carrier. For me, you asked me what was peak Regnum Carrier. For me, it was then we're playing center 2-2 splits. Now they're playing slow edge split. For me, this does not suit this roster. That is known to be so aggressive. And as of right now, they're just playing completely differently compared to PMGO. And I want them to go back to the basics, back to the old Regnum Carrier, because they can come home with a trophy.
Yeah, just way too slow for my liking. I also would like to see them being able to play in the center. And if you are going to be playing slow, just try to scout a little bit more, Regnum Karya, because that's currently what's hurting your chances at actually being able to be successful in this match. And if we go here towards the second page, I mean, this is what I was saying. I was happy that Four Thrives was able to get just some points because of that gap that's currently being created there towards the top.
Considering we have 5 more games today, and then who knows how many games tomorrow, are we writing the arena off? It's 11 points. You need a massive, massive push.
Done for me.
You think so?
I think every game going forward, I'm just going to start taking teams off at the bottom, just like you're out of the conversation entirely.
Yeah, it's difficult. Well, we're moving on to Erangel. We've got 3 of them coming up here, 7. And so far, there's names up there that have had a bit of a harder time, but there's also some names up there that are doing really well so far.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Alter Ego. This is a team that, I mean, for their performances yesterday when it came down to Erangel, it was top 10 or above. And I mean, like, I don't mean like below top 10. I don't mean 8th place, 9th place. No, there was 10th, 11th, 11th. For this team, don't do that again. You didn't get a win here in Sandhawk. You cannot afford to just have this kind of performance going into 3 Erangels.
Yeah. All right, well, you guys at home can be involved in not only watching PMWC, but also getting involved in the Airdrop Carnival that is currently going on. The PUBG Mobile Airdrop Carnival is now live, of course. Don't miss out on the final 3 days this weekend. Log in to summon your surprise airdrop. Collect 2025 Airdrop Carnival vouchers for more chances to win official merch, smartphones, BD partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participant is guaranteed to win, so come and join the Airdrop Carnival. But coming into we're coming out of Sandhawk, but into Erangel here, Maxman. What are you looking out for Erangel?
I want 4 Thrives. Back in PMSL CSA, that was their best map. They were doing so good on the map. They drop relatively center Ferry Pier. They can quickly rotate. They don't fight Alpha Gaming on the Western Bridge. Sandhawk, for me, it's a bit of a write-off because of the hot drop. Again, they can still get back at the top of the leaderboards, but we need to start seeing results right now.
For you guys at home, make sure to tune into the map feed as well. It gives you so much information. You're able to think about those big macro plays. You might even be able to incorporate some of that into your game as well. There's no better way, from my opinion, than watching that map feed and see how these teams rotate, 7.
100% agree, and I'm just smiling over here whenever Max was talking about 4 Thrives, because going into Erangel, I'm actually going to be looking at Horror Esports. I want to see if they're going to continue with those 1-2-1 splits, with those 2-2 splits that kind of worked out for them, because yesterday going into Erangel, that was their best performing match. That's when they ended up getting 2nd place with 6 elims and also a 5th place with 4 eliminations. I want to continue to see those kind of improvements here in Erangel.
What is a sadistic lookout? You're looking out for the team he predicted. He's looking out for the team you predicted.
I just don't want to talk about the team from Nepal again. I'm playing it.
You're trying to curse my team now? Wait a second.
This is all kinds of twisted. That's ridiculous. But yes, going on to Erangel, because there's 3 of them, obviously yesterday, I think for some of these games, aside from maybe the Potato Hill game, we saw a lot of compound favor positions, right? Metagaming, what goes on in Erangel can be so easy for some of these teams at this level, Max, because they've played so much Erangel, so they don't want those compound finishes.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be your bread and butter here. You have 3 matches back to back to back. You need to get points on board on the grassy pastures.
All right, thank you very much, boys. Time to get it going. 3 times Erangel. More action coming your way here for PMWC.
Oh, the tension in the air is thick. You could cut it with a knife, looking at the emotions that are on display from our teams. And hey, even over in the analyst desk, you know, a bit of tension there, a bit of back and forth. The curses from Maxman, the 7 sight lines. I'm trademarking that one. What do you reckon? 7 sight lines.
I'm gonna look in.
Yeah, like he stands behind the team and he's like, you could do that better.
You could do that. This is a bad sideline.
7 sight lines.
My sideline for you. It's not good. Not you personally.
Just in general?
Or just in general.
I was going to say, what's happening?
We're heading in towards our 2nd match of the day over on Erangel. There is a lot of tension, like you say. It's going to have to be probably a massive pair of scissors. Human-sized scissors.
Like the ones you get when you go to Korean barbecue and you want to cut the beef. Massive scissors.
Yeah. Just enlarged.
God.
To cut the tension, because you're right, it's thick. It's thick.
Palpable.
Yeah.
Other describing words.
Yeah.
So talk to me, Blank. Another game.
Another game, another day. But not just any day. This is a PMWC playoffs day.
Oh, yeah.
And we're heading in from Nova Noia up towards Severny now. 74 points for Yangon Galacticos, but look at that. That last game, Alpha Gaming puts themselves in a very good position to challenge. In second place with 70 points, an exact 10-point average for them. Alpha Gaming looking very, very good. Obviously, there has been some amazing plays yesterday just in terms of survival, in terms of grit, making their way through it, continuing to put that damage out. It's nice to see Doc performing at such a level, but not necessarily just on his own. I think that Alpha Gaming has come into their own with these 4 players on side of top. Doc, Zyol and Reefers, all incredibly well-known players representing their region. Down towards Sosnovka to start, but they have a long way to go up towards Severny, where the circle resides.
And I think it's nice for Doc as well, of course, because we saw in that opening VT where he was saying, you know, win or lose, we just want people to cheer for us. We want to do this for the fans, for the people that are watching at home from the region. And win or lose, they've been doing that as a team and as individuals. Like you said, so many of the statistical highlights there representing not one, but a couple of the players from the roster. They've been playing off each other very nicely, even in situations, Mike, where it feels like you should be at a disadvantage. They're quick to the draw today. They're looking hot, dialed in for the action, and just ready for it, which is everything you want as we're getting closer and closer to, obviously, tomorrow, the pinnacle day. They keep going like this. Wow.
Yeah. There is a bit of poignancy as well with the fact that you're saying win or lose. We just want people to cheer for us from our region. And I do think it's super important to bring that up, because in the past there has been moments where they have won, yet there's not been a whole amount of cheering, because it's a case of a lot of times, you know, Doc will go off on his own, or we'll make weird plays, we'll go for strange splits, and yeah, the game will be won, but was it won in a way that felt good? Probably not a couple of times for them over the years. And I think that here it really does feel like when they lose together, and I think you can cheer for that, knowing that they've done their best, that they went for rotates that made sense, they were aggressive when it was needed, and you can cheer for them all together. You're not cheering for one singular player at a time. This is a team that has developed nicely as this tournament has gone on. Talking about some other squads though, right now, Alter Ego quite far behind with 4th place at 49 points. It's a big drop-off, Jackie, between Alter Ego and Yangon Galacticos at 74 points, and then down towards 5th with 44 tied in place between Regnum Kaya and Ida, which is quite nice just in terms of storylines there for that team. But yet some teams will have to step it up, because going into our 3rd and final day, Smash rules will be in effect. Right now, you're just wanting to be as close as possible to 1st place to set yourself up nicely into day 3 on match point.
I think it's an interesting one as well, because obviously you mentioned it there with Alter Ego. It's the fact that it's been their fragging power where they've been keeping themselves towards this top spot. But it's why there is such a big point differential when you think about placements. They're not getting as deep into games as we've seen before back in the group stage. For them as well, you know, you're just the one chicken dinner, actually, which it comes back to haunt you a little bit. Teams definitely spotting them out. Yes, they can still handle themselves, and you've got a good distribution of firepower with the gun skill, but looking for some of those placement games now, like you say, try and leapfrog further up to get yourself back into a focal position towards the top spot. We get power on our screens as well. Another team that similarly, it's been down to a lot of their work when it comes to taking head-on engagements, hot drops, late game developments where you're looking at sort of 9 to 10 eliminations. But again, teams have scoped them out. They're stopping them from making it too far into the overall flow of the game. We'll see if maybe that will change here for a few of our teams.
Meantime, let's take a look on that northern side. Regnum Kaya currently sat fairly central, looking to push further into this one. For Alter Ego, like you were saying, placement points are a little bit of a scarcity. Definitely not like they haven't got any here, but in terms of Alva's scouting, that was the main thing that kind of made them look special in their group stages, where it was very easy for them to cut themselves away in towards that end game. Definitely different here when you get to the playoffs, where you're playing against the best of the 24, right? Very much confirmed onto, well, not always those rotations are as easy as they were in the past for them. Alva's not finding these critically unclaimed areas of the map. But still, that last game was just it's a worrying one, but also a promising one, where they get taken down essentially by Sook. He gets a shot, like you were saying before. It was a nasty one that came through over towards Rosemary and one of the players early, so it just slowed them down. Then they move up, they lose 2 on the knock, which allows Alpha Gaming a very clear approach over towards their position. That could have been an amazing game. Just a lot of little mistakes came through, which led to them just not having that opportunity. These sorts of things just can't really happen here in the playoffs, especially when you're playing 3v1 and you're losing 2 players on a knock. That must feel very frustrating. So for a lot of teams who did have those mistakes last game, day 2 is all just about being able to reset game after game after game.
Yeah, you've got no time to let yourself feel disparaged, really, in kind of your head-in-hand moments. It has got to be very quick turnaround from game to game and straight back in, just focusing on the overall run for the championship. Because obviously, as we said, as we clued up, going out a survival stage with no Alpha 7, any one of these squads has the opportunity to be crowned a new champion. You won't have the 2-time possibility, which should really reinvigorate some of the squads as well that are going into this thinking, you know what, we can push for so much here. The legacy, steal away the title, embody ourselves, be another squad that has our history made here live in Saudi Arabia.
Take a look at the rotations going through now. Alter Ego, they wrap round over towards Stalbert. Nice bit of high ground to get good vision on. Horror actually finding Sleepy. We have a quick knockout towards Fahidan. This guy backs it off and taking a bit of damage. Nice shots from Alhaji, but there is a response which backs him off. This guy is going to crawl back over towards his teammates while priming another nade. And Douglas very worried about holding that angle there. Power's going to done a fantastic job here at keeping them at bay.
It's the last magazine for Al-Haji as well, with the shotty up close. 6 shells remaining for him. He was pre-firing on the corner, hoping they'd re-peek into it. Ooh, down to the wire there as well to go for the double back to grab the Hidan, but he will be able to pick him up. You've got cover. Bora aren't instantly engaging off for this, and there is protection at least from the rooftop side there, slightly further back. That's easy. A man that is incredibly crisp. He can take the window peek. Oh, nade over. Seeing if they can get that one on target. Nearly, but not quite hitting the mark.
It's one of the very, very open compounds on the northeast side of the map, just underneath Stalber. This does isolate the fight a little bit. No one's really wanting to run into this one because those sight lines are so open. Does happily contain 2 teams. For Horror, they're figuring out whether this is worth it to them, right? Is it worth it to continue this fight? It's likely not going to end up on this side of the map, and it does not as we shove over towards the western side. The good thing for Horror is they did position Power further away to the point where they can make a getaway first. So they're absolutely going to be ahead of Power in the coming moments.
Yeah, you can set up quicker, which at the end of the day will be far more worth it than running the risk of both of them scrapping it out and you limp away, even with 1 or at worst 2 knocks there if they did take down Power, or vice versa with Horror falling. So it's just not worth the risk. They call it quits, especially with the placements that they're both in 9th and 10th place at the minute. We also get vision of 4 Frives. Again, obviously this is 4 Frives that have really been struggling in some of these games. They took some uncomfortable early game exits back in day 1. They were able to upset Power on the hot drop here going into day 2's opening game. It's Team Secret that were near them, but you've got close grouping even with Fireflux that are moving down from the bridge side. A little bit of scouting from Scarface.
Small amount being done there. Identify where teams are playing. It's quite difficult around this area as well because there is a lot of slopes. Those deny those sight lines coming through. Information cut off a little bit. Working in the dark. Find a flashlight to figure out the pathways through. Regnum Kaya did move up from that south side slightly to the eastern edge of shooting range, which we all know is pretty horrible at times. We'll see definitely some teams get themselves lined up against that fence. Alter Ego, though, they opted to head far on the north side. They started over towards Stalber, and they're going to work that coastline over towards Severny, where Weibo Gaming on our screens are lying.
It's been nice to see, at least for Weibo as well, the way they've been able to play even when they're split. Even if it's a solo player, there's been some really good heads-up calls in terms of the impact they've been finding with the gun skill, which has been fun to watch. obviously for them, you do need to try and push for a bit more. Keep those points building. Potential to leapfrog a little bit as well with how close the grouping is there. All the way up from 8th place to just behind Alter Ego in 4th. If they could have a great day of it with some of the squads above, struggling at least into our game here.
The gas on side, refueling, getting ready to go. Quite a bit of space on the northwest edge of this map, which is unclaimed right now, Jackie. Teams will probably have to move up from Rozhok soonish and the island that sits between. Yangon Galacticos on their lineup on that southwest side. It's a pretty awkward circle a lot of times for squads. There's few areas to really post up and stay for a long time, but we're centering on shooting range. Now is actually not a bad time to pick up those buildings that sit around shooting range. You can get naded into them and the fence around it does provide cover, but it's better than nothing.
You got Ida that almost looked a little bit camouflaged there as well, and they're late roaming towards the circle with the blue matching the actual blue itself. Thunder Talks taking a bit of damage from the side as well. That's Fireflux that have been scouting out, obviously looking for an opening opportunity to get thrown into an engagement here. You got the hovercraft for the quick getaway, so they can at least keep themselves moving. All squads still currently standing. Only one player has been removed from the equation over on the side of Falcons. They're down to a trio, but we might lose some more players here. The close quarters crash comes in. They dive out of the back of the hovercraft, but straight into the forefront of Weibo. They're able to deal some damage. Oh, ring around the rosies, but they're starting to fall down from the third party of DRX.
Now Power moves in as well, sweeps round, they get a lay of the land, figure out where these players are, a second swipe comes through, and nades would be easy to send over towards that location. Power still figuring things out though, and opts to just send it slightly further back. Easy has the 2 nades to work with, but it's not to go in. So funny that AJ just kind of throws that hovercraft in, hoping to catch a few of them on the approach, just squash them all. Doesn't get any, and then proceeds to sit in the hovercraft thinking about what he's done.
Yeah, time to reminisce, and probably not memories that you'll really want replaying if you have that visual memory. Not ideal whatsoever, and that is how we say goodbye to our first team, at least here as well, with Thunder Talks now going down fully off the back of it. Alpha Gaming, Nonshin, Red Force here, right near each other. Obviously Alpha Gaming, and the difference is they've been able to make some heads-up calls towards the late game, whereas Nonshin, it feels like it's very aggressive PUBG Mobile, right? As soon as they catch whiff of an opportunity, they will dogpile on you and not stop.
Nongsham's scary. I think that Seven was talking about on the desk, how they looked great there. And I think that it's hard with Nongshim Red Force to figure out whether what they're doing is a great play or a bad play, because when it comes to those engagements, they look really good, but how many of those engagements could they have not taken and still found a good game off the back of it without having to waste resources, find bullet holes in their vests, and just move on looking a little bit more clean. Yangon Galacticos over now towards the southwest side. They've been working the problem, working the issue, and now they're holding out Ida, who did try and cross on the island. And I think they've done enough now to slow them down, to make their approach really, really hard.
Alpha caught whiff of the arena on that drive-by, but trying to dive out and actually be in a position to get the opening shots off before you lose a player was not worth it. So they've had to keep chicaning around and look for better cover to at least pull up for now. Obviously that's Weibo that are slightly off ever since they had that hovercraft crash that came their way. Fireflux might actually take the punch straight to E-Arena. Joker's been getting a lot of cover down for them, breaking up the sight lines with the smokes at least.
Ida eliminated. The Arena recalls the rest of the team back into the action. There is one knock that goes through. Fireflux do get the center of the circle on this one, on this small plateau that they're working with. I was really hoping for a shooting range finish, honestly. It would have been very fun. Sort of like a maze in there at times. Sook finding Reefus on the knock here for Alpha Gaming, who did set up, and they've been in a world of hurt for a long, long time after Thunder Talk sent in on top of them. Try to sit that hovercraft down on Weibo. Tony K having a couple of turns of his own, getting the 360 scope of the land.
Oh.
Wow, maybe he did read it as quite as well as I thought.
Yeah, not quite the full scope land. Didn't spot that, but luckily they don't punish off the back of it.
9% official.
10% goes a long way.
There's Alter Ego. This is an interesting rotate actually, and they're rotating directly over towards Nongshim Red Force, which again, they are a terrifying team. They're still a terrifying team, even though they make mistakes sometimes. You've got to admit that their prowess when it comes to engagements, horrible to run into. Krypton immediately gets knocked down by Sleepy as well. That's over towards the north side because he was slightly late on the rotate, scouting going over towards the west, desperately trying to find an area that they could play in. At least they have information over towards Horror there, and Krypton's death was for not for naught, essentially.
Rosemary, shots down range. Making that one look like the Major 14. Clean connections. It's a nice way to open it up and at least get some bite back over after the damage was done onto their team. So you take Krypton, will keep trying to take heads off of you. Quick switch to the secondary as well. Barrage of bullets keeps on coming in, and they're relatively pinned as well. Regnum Kari is seeing the opportunity for this. Toshpik actually with the explosive bow as well. This one could have some sparks to it, Blank.
It could do. I mean, able to get some damage over the top. Alter Ego, they explode a vehicle, and it ends up in misery with Sleepy hitting the deck. He's going to take a nap on this one for a short while, whilst the rest of the team desperately tries to wake him up, shaking him inside that ditch.
15 arrows left. I mean, you can kind of just zone on this and nip at both of the heels. You can keep it uncomfortable for either squad. Ooh, okay. I mean, uncomfortable being the operative word for him now. Quickly, get your head down, reset.
Good shots back over towards Al-Haji though, from Wild and Loxy. Instantaneous reaction. Horror's going to try and send some nades their way. A little bit further, probably would have found Toshpik. He's got no first aid kits. He's running on 10 bandages, which is not an ideal scenario for them. Fireflux though with an awesome position over towards the center. Same with E Arena. Alpha Gaming will need to circumvent shooting range. Get themselves out of there. Target practice in terms of where they'll land on the map.
In a period as well, I was curious if DRX might actually try and make a bit of a move up towards Alpha, but instead you can see the shift around. Zone comes in as well. Fireflux has been in a great spot for quite some time there. It feels like they've always had the zone on their side. Four Thrives again, another team that's in a good position off the back of the zone shift.
It's a nice compound to work with for Four Thrives. It's going to be critical when it comes to holding out teams on the western edge though, right? With that building control, you have to be proactive taking those shots. Regnum Kaya makes a dangerous maneuver because they'll have to move away. One of the teams that is the furthest away from getting in towards the circle, they are bombarding it directly over towards E Arena. Shots are being sent through as that's from Alter Ego in fact, and Mormon will pick up the pieces.
Ooh, carnage being caused. Fireflux want to hold on to their good position and deny any entrance from Regnum Karia, with Rosemary in the back confirming shots. Bahora peek back up, and it's another one from Jiggle to knock Rosemary down into his last legs. Meanwhile, you had that head-to-head versus Power and Alpha that was going on over towards shooting range, so it's kicking off in the north. It's all happening in the center as well.
Yeah, Daybot sent away in a vehicle was on pretty much no HP. Even one tank would take him out, and that desperate run comes to an end very, very quickly. Horror will have to move though. 4 players all still alive. It's somewhat surprising from this position, and they make it work. It was an uncomfortable spot to be in, but they laid down in the dirt and finally brushed themselves off and attempt to make it further in towards this circle. Nongshim Red Force challenged them down towards the south side of the map. DRX have made like a nice little rotate, I would say. It's been slow and steady from that western side. They've been very careful of teams around them. They do find a spot to work with.
Yeah, with some of the opportunities they've been presented to potentially engage on third parties as well, I think they're just thinking about placements. They're playing a more strategic game on this one rather than being baited into anything. Power, though, have been pulling no punches. They took the crash down towards shooting range on Weibo. Now they kick off another instigation here versus E Arena, but Fireflux are right there on the precipice of being able to clean up on this one.
Fireflux has always had an opportunity to take fights over towards this side. They're never committing too much into the push though, constantly just going for something a little bit crushing in terms of teams beneath them, adding a little bit of a casualty in there, and the more teams that go down around them, the more secure their position becomes. Alpha Gaming finally makes a move of their own though. They've been up towards shooting range, they work their way through, now looking over towards E Arena as Joker goes down first, Turn EK stops off, but you can't stop for long. Redox in a 1v1, I believe, with Nongshan Red Force.
And it's a bit of a smorgasbord of errors as well from both the Falcons and Nongshan Red Force, with the self-knocks that have been coming through, making it a bit uncomfortable in the head-to-head there. One for either side. Koa gets gatted down as well, with Sleepy getting vision. Nongshan Red Force out in the meantime. Oh, shrapnel everywhere. He's been eating C4 for breakfast, and you're not breathing anymore. Just Redox behind the tree. All bark and probably no bite.
Initial nade was very well played coming through from Hora. Still have all players up, by the way. One is knocked, but they are in the process of picking him back up again. Circle moves back down towards the southwest side. And this is definitely one of those games where if 4 Thrives cannot convert on this for a chicken dinner, you're counting them out. Like, this is a massive opportunity for them.
DRX, potentially a big opportunity in this exact head-to-head versus Alpha as well. It'd be a squad you want to take down, make it more uncomfortable for them. Uh-oh, the fire and flames burning down Reefus, but Top Trade straight back with 2 clean tags over on the DRX, keep him pinned in position, pop up from you. A bit of a king in the game in PUBG Mobile, but what's he got for us here? Nice nade, bowls out, Rufus goes down off the back of it, follow up in. As well, rolling downhill, chip damage on the dock. Meanwhile, Fireflux thrown to the head-to-head versus Aura that they're going to walk away with.
We're accelerating things big time right now with the circle pushing it over towards Alpha. And 7-9 to drop those smokes quickly and easily. We create cover for DRX to reset on this one. They still have 4 players, but not for long, as Top once again re-engages the Mini 14 at distance. This guy is deadly. Fireflux, like you said, great engagement over towards Hora. Kind of sad we missed that one, as it was a clean sweep from Fireflux.
Playstyle again here as well. It's far similar to what we were seeing from Fireflux when they were really starting to dominate, where you had that back and forth between Kedge and Scarface, the way that they were taking engagements, even on the spread, being able to work off each other quite nicely. It's a good placement to be in. 7 elims, a ton of damage. Great zone control for the longest time. Alpha on the roam up. It's Scarface with a quick hit. He's hungry, and the dinner plate will smash over the face. Follows up. Zol down. Goodbye, Doc. Just Top. Track behind the tree, and the nade will finish it.
What a clean fight that was. Brought out the dishcloth and mopped that team up. And again, immediately refocusing over towards Team Secret. 2 knocks coming through in the space of bare seconds. Solus will go down, but is in cover. 10 elims on the match here for Fireflux, making it look easy on this northeast side, constantly being a big presence in the game. So weird for Fireflux as well, because you see these games pop up now and again where they just look indomitable inside the lobby. And what can you really do against them? But we need more of this. We need this to happen so much more for Fireflux. So a lot of times when you see these games and you think to yourself, they're a shining light within inside of this lobby, and other times it's just quite dim on their side.
I think it's those 2 players that really do
bring the movements to them. Scarface, the minute they're both still alive, that could be the differential factor that could help them out. When you look at some of the squads that remain, I mean, the battle of attrition is far better for Fireflux. Rectum Kairos was one man who was wild, who was able to actually survive the push through Fireflux ages ago. He's had to keep himself down in the dirt. Cuban as well, trapped in. So shift though. Ooh, 4 Thrives, they've been waiting for so damn long. It's Yangon that are behind them as well, so this could cause some infighting. 4 drives, that compound is really quite good. Circle actually headed over that way. It's hard to get 4 drives off because not only does it provide you a lot of cover, there's a huge amount of high ground control you can get from that position, which makes it so difficult when you get to the end game where it's quite a flat space. On this region, the circle cuts out every single building, does not keep a single one in the next circle, and Fireflux have all the control on the eastern side here. 224's POV here. There's been bullets whizzing through the windows for a while. Yangon just taking a peek over Romeo's further out. Wild hello! He finally makes a move with an EWC. Close quarters engagement can take Ketch out of the mix. That's going to be a bit of a sore sight for the Fireflux eyes, losing out one of their players after what's been a blinding game for them, keeping all 4 alive for a good set of time here. Losing Ketch is a big deal, but the prime players on that squad. Well, though you can't really ever count this guy out on Regnum Kaya, especially as a solo. He is hailed as one of the best solo players in the game. 2014 as well as the DPS. He's got long range as well as close range on lock, but it is IQ to find that shot. Yumbin now waiting in the wings here between them and Fireflux, and they have no idea. Yunmin belly down on the ground, sneaking up towards him. No one's got vision. Jumps up with the DBS. The right hook's good for one, but they reply. They turn around, but again, it's issues. That's all these teams had to do. If they wanted to cause problems for Fireflux taking the game itself, they go from 4 to 2 in the matter of a minute. The fire is sputtering here. They need to add more fuel to the flames of Fireflux. Losing both your top players here in the matter of minutes. Scarface as well as Ketch. The other boys now need to step up. Yangon Galacticos, 4 players playing it slow on the Southwest edge for a long time. They've been quiet, but now look to be deadly. Mana bringing the base. Bullet straight to the face. It's uncomfortable for 4 Fries. Losing so much manpower back with the target-rich environment, but the shots just don't deliver. And 4 Fries are removed. Yangon bided their time for so long. They've engaged off the back of it and made it work. You can get the pickup as well. This has been an assassination of a gameplay coming through from Yangon Galacticos. They played it slow, they played it steady. Teams weren't really aware of their position, they've just been holding out, waiting for their time to strike, and their time is now. A long nade comes through from Fireflux, who wrap their way around over towards the western side. Team Secret still holding on desperately. White knuckle grip on that compound towards the eastern side, but finally they have to let go. There really is no secret that this is the way they like playing these games. If you give them the stock to play passive, they will wait it out and go for the placements. Romeo, vision over, spots onto one, few bullets, whizzing by. It's only 2 players there. They can trade off one another and opt to play this out just with the long con. But the fact they've got so much more stock in the bodies, it's Murnat that gets the first connection off. Romeo looking to deliver the Shakespearean poison, but there will be no resurrection on the side of Team Secret when they go down. Yangon Galacticos continue to ramp. Fireflux with Murnat, with Macap as well as Solus. 2 players that can step up. Yangon Galacticos look to roam out. Frankie in a whole world that are likely to go down soon. Yangon Galacticos are just starting to sweep here. Fireflux have had no say in the decimation that's happened around this map. You love to see it as well, because it's a hell of a call from them. As soon as they got that first knock, they go for the controlled engagement, so not only stealing away 2 additional healing points, but also now setting themselves up potentially for the grand prize that's just inches away from them. Coming away with this one with that first place on the chicken dinner. Yangon Galacticos currently in first place on the rankings as well. This would push them further away from any other squad inside the lobby. They have been so consistently dominant through the playoffs here. Now Fireflux have to move forward directly into the sightlines of Yangon Galacticos, and they're going to deny the points. It had been dawn, but now in dusk for Fireflux, and Yangon Galacticos will be here when the sun rises, pick themselves up another chicken dinner, and forcing themselves way up there in the rankings. A team that had to fight for survival, keep themselves focused game after game, but as soon as they made it to the playoff stage, we have trained the true potential of this beast, this unit of a squad. And I think if this doesn't start to silence people thinking potentially is the fluke, is it going to slow down? I don't know what will. There's a lot of doubters here for Yangon Galacticos. But we're just inside of their galaxy right now, and they continue to take ship after ship down here. Lasers are blaring from this team. It looks fantastic, it looks good, and it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon, Jackie. No, not at all. And they embody it there with the celebrations. They wrap it up and silence the competition. Another huge win. The Galacticos is reigning supreme.
बॉय कंकरर लगने वाला है यार। और लगेगी ये देखो कितने परसेंट रन है 1%। और जो लगी नहीं है टाइम नहीं आने की थी पर मूड नहीं लगा दिल अजीब जो है था। ये देखो कंकरर सिर्फ 1% रहेगा भाई जी 1%।
कितने नंबर पे बैठे हो
500 दी टॉप रैंक उस बेच आना रैंकिंग बेच लग जाता है 1% है ना 1% एक दिहाड़ में मिले ना ते
आ रही है छुट्टी ਤੁਹਾਡੀ
कोई ना उस दिन में इंशाल्लाह लग गया सी टॉप बाजवा फिर वन ते आ बैठ के
कौन
टॉप 1 बाजवा नहीं
पाकिस्तानी
हाँ फिर टॉप 1 ते आ गया ये दो ये तलदा कोई अरबी है ना ये भैन बहुत जी बूते तो खेड़दे जी ये तो उस दिहाड़े कल के परसों दे है में थे 3 स्टार है ਹੁਣ 71 ਸਟਾਰ ਹੋਏ ਦੇ
ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਦੇ ਟਾਪ ਵਾਲੇ ਦੇ
ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀ 71 ਸਿਰ ਥੋੜੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਾਂ ਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਹੈ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੇਰੇ 15 ਸਟਾਰ ਹੋਏ
ਮਾਦਰ ਚੋਦ ਬੈਕ ਕੀ ਤੂੰ ਕਰਾ ਯਾਰ ਸਕਰੀਨ ਫੁੱਲ ਕਰ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੈ ਮੈਚ ਬੈਕ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਤੂੰ ਕਰ
ਨਾ ਨਾ ਟੱਚ ਕਰੋ ਨਾ ਇਸੇ ਤੇ
ਸਾਰਾ ਕੋਈ ਕਰ ਐ ਸਮਾਰਾ ਫਸ ਗਿਆ ਜਾਨ ਦਾ ਬੰਦ ਪੈ ਗਈ
ਤਕੜਾ ਬਲੇਰ ਹੋਏ ਬਾਜਵਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ दो दी कीड़ी मैं दो दी कीड़ी
किदी
इसकी
टॉप
बाजी मैच कितने खेले उसमें जाने दे बच्चे विन कितने मैच कितने विन 1043
इतना सेट पूरा होगा ना
बाजी मैच खेड़े कितने होने सोचो जिता है इतने में मैं असी पूरे और बहुत ज़्यादा भी खेड़ा ना 6-6 घंटे भी असी 1000 मैच खेडने पूरे ना 2 महीने पे हैं जने दा कितना दाड़ा 15-20 दाड़े ही होए ना 20 एक दिन जने 1043 जित गए जेड़े विन कीते
यार संगी जी फिर ओदा काम नहीं है
टॉप 10 विच आया 1474 पर पैसा ना उस पता मेरा एक काम है जिस तरह असी जिथे ड्यूटी करने हैं ना उन्हें तो पैसा आंदा होवे ना तो मैं 10 घंटे भी मैं बैठ के लाइव कर रखना फिर मज़ा भी आंदा लाइव खेलने बाद शौक आंदा ना पसंद है मैं बस इतने 20 सेकंड लेट होना और कौन है एक कौन है एक TMG वाले है ना TMG वाले यार वो किथे वे ਅਰਬਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਭੈਣ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਸਹੀ ਖੇਡਦੀਆਂ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਵੇ
ਅੱਛਾ ਆਲ ਵਰਲਡ ਚ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਨੰਬਰ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ
ਹਾਂ ਇਹ ਬਾਜੂ ਇਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੇ ਮਿਡਲ ਈਸਟ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਉਸ ਤੇ ਵੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਫੁੱਲ ਕੌਂਟ ਰੈਂਕਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਦੇ
ਬੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਯਾਰ
ਬਾਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਤਕੜਾ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਭੈਣ ਜਾਣੇ ਦੇ ਪੁਆਇੰट्स रो चेक करो
ਇਹਦਾ ਲੈਵਲ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਲੈਵਲ
89 उस मेरा भी 89 है
कलेक्शन लेवल
है 76
लेवल
थोड़ी घट ही करता उसी ना पर बाबा जी खेड़दा देखा उसी तुसा देखे दा नहीं सा ओहो हो बाबा जी तुसी दाढ़ी रखी दी पतला माड़ा जा बंदा है ये हाउ ब्रांड आए तो होंदा है
ये भी बैन बड़ा तगड़ा खेलती नेपाली
वहाँ नेपाली हो जड़े जितने ना बाबा जी कितना तगड़ा पे आगे खेल के आए
बहुत तगड़ा है साढ़े थोड़े जे घट्टे ने मां पर पता नहीं क्यों लगे होंगे
नो शुरू दे देना भाई आगे गेन वो टीएम वाला तो इस बार आई नहीं करे रैंकिंग ਵਿੱਚ ਸਰਵਾਈਵਿੰਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਭੈਣ ਤਿੰਨ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਦੇ
कौन
ਇਹ ਬਾਜਵਾ तीसरे नंबर पे बैठे थे बाबा जी अल्टीमेट पे दुए पे बैठे थे अल्टीमेशन जुड़ा होता है ना सर्वर से वाओ रैंकिंग साढ़ा नहीं जो लो लाला नहीं खेल रहे हैं बंदी निकाल लिया एक सूट दे है एक सूट
आ देख
वीडियो दे हम ये भी दसदा हुण किस किस को लैवे केड़ा केड़ा सूट तूजी कोल है नहीं त्रै सूट उस तूजी कोल